It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and you're in the right spot, right here on LidLine Sports. What's up, everybody? You're now listening to LidLine Sports. You got your co-host, Otis, Lil O in the building, and we got our special friend on the show with us tonight, Michael Carter. What's good, man? Happy to see you again. Welcome to have you back. How you been, man?
What's up, man? I've been all right. I would have went in, blew my knee out, best of it before I have to have sitting here on my work.
Okay, I think you were going in and out.
What's that?
Can you hear me, Michael Carter? Okay. You was going in and out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we're welcome back. For all you guys who don't know, Pep got told us for the last 2 weeks and rubbed it in our faces how he was going to be in Hawaii this weekend. So hopefully you're out there, Pep, if you're listening, having fun. You and Doreen, we're definitely jealous. But we're here, Mike. We got a lot to talk about, man. The NFL draft, of course. The NBA playoffs are still going on. But, since we're in the 206, it's only right to start off this time today talking about the Seattle Kraken, man. The Seattle Kraken has just won their first playoff series in franchise history, second year in the NHL. But not only that, they did it in fashion, beating the defending champs, the Colorado Avalanche, in 7 games. Michael Carter, did you see this happening? Did you really see this coming?
Yeah. Oh, man, it was incredible. It's firstly where they scored the first goal in 5 games in a row, and it was against the defending champs.
Yeah. What more about that series impressed? Because I know coming into the playoffs, I know that the Seattle Kraken were one of the better offensive teams in the NHL, but to see how well they did defensively against, like you said, the defending champs, the Colorado Avalanche, going down. And we all know, too, Pep was telling us, shout out to Pep, who I think did a really good job just, staying on top of the Seattle Kraken all regular season. I know he said that the Kraken were one of the better road teams in the NHL. They showed that this series, going down to Colorado, taking one from there. But talk about just what do you see from the Kraken moving forward, and how much momentum that this should carry over, and can you really see the Kraken making it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals? Mark Carter frozen? I think he's frozen out there. But yeah, man, just seeing what these guys are doing. Like I said, in their second season in the NHL, it's been amazing. And I know this last weekend with having some games in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena, I know the city was going crazy for that. Like I said, it's just crazy to see. There's a lot of just like Ron Dorsey says, it was chippiness this series. We saw some suspensions. Some guys went down in this series, I want to say, for the Avalanche. And like I said, just to watch the Avalanche battle, or not the Avalanche, but the Kraken battle throughout this for their first playoff series. Like I said, it was just really dope to see. And, hopefully that can carry over. Now, they're not playing no slouches. I know they beat the defending champs, but they play the Dallas Stars next. This is another team who's a really good team in the Western Conference, a really good defensive team in the Dallas Stars. So, yeah, the Kraken are going to have their work put out for them, but you would think that it would give you so much confidence to be able to go in this first series, win that. You got to think that the sky's the limit for them. Yeah, somebody was missing from Colorado. I think a defensive man got hurt. But we all know no excuses, especially when it comes in the playoffs. You play with what you got. That's why you build a team, not just players. Michael Carter, you back?
I had to go get my headphones. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me now,
Are you
Michael?
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to get my headphones because I was getting an echoing.
Okay. Now you're good. I was asking you before you got off. So I was saying that this carries with so much momentum going forward for the Dallas Kraken. I mean, for the Seattle Kraken. Is it fair to say now that you can really see these guys making it to at least the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, I think they got a great chance. They're a young team, and the main thing for them right now is that they're playing they're playing with anger because most of their players they got a few stars, but a lot of them are players that other teams didn't want.
Okay.
So
And
they're playing
I
they going from city to city with a chip on their shoulder, you know.
okay. And then so they did have somebody from the Avalanche on this team, right?
What's
Who
that?
previously played for. So did they have some? Do they have somebody who previously played for the Avalanche?
Yeah, the goalie. He was the
Okay.
goalie was the goalie was the goaltender for the Avalanche. And like I said, they a lot of teams dumped some of these guys, and now they're regretting it.
So what do you see the next series? I was telling everybody. So they play the Dallas Stars. What is it going to take for the Seattle Kraken to keep this going against them?
They just have to keep doing what they're doing, and the only thing they have to do is clean up their second. They get a lead, and then I think they get complacent, and then they let the
Yeah.
other team comes back, and they just have to keep the pedal to the metal, and because they got locked lockdown goalie, they great offense. But I think once they get a lead, they get excited and they get complacent. So if they change
Okay.
that, I think it might go to another 6 or 7 game series.
And we know that's what it's going to take. This is the playoffs, man. You can't take no matchup for granted. You got to be ready to go, and just like you said, you got to stick with what's getting you here. And like I said, man, shout out to the Seattle Kraken. Maybe that curse of the Mariners making the playoff is starting to spread out through Seattle, and it's taking forward. So hopefully we can keep that going.
Playoff fever in Seattle. That's what we need. Yeah, let's keep that rolling.
Exactly. And so they play on Tuesday, starting tomorrow. Speaking of the Mariners, we have a lot of bad news, in my opinion, for the Seattle Mariners. So star pitcher Robbie Ray will be out for the rest of the season with the injury.
And I told everybody, I told everybody when they picked Robbie Ray up that he's old. He's older. He's 30, 31, and everybody was all hyped and pumped, and I'm like, he won't stay healthy. And he was last year healthy. This year he has the pitchers that are hungry and ready to go. They just have to.
And my thing was, if there's one thing that the Mariners did have, they had depth in the starting rotation. So yes, it's a loss, but now remember we have guys like Chris Flexen, and then we have a lot of pitching in our AAA office that can come in and get the job done. The Mariners just need to tighten up things just all over the book. It's not just pitching. The bullpen hasn't gotten out to a great start. The hitting is off to a much better start than it has been recently, but they still have games every now and again where they don't put up any runs. So, what do you see for the Mariners going forward? Like I said, I know we're off to a little bit of a slow start, but are with Robbie Ray out, will the Mariners still be fine? Mike Carter frozen again. Mike, we're going to get you to work on that internet service over there. But yeah, I think the Mariners right now are sitting at third or fourth in the American League West Division. Right now, they are in fourth behind Texas, who is leading. The Texas Rangers doing a really good job. The Houston Astros are playing a little better after their slow start, and we all know that the whole world will be looking at Shohei Ohtani over at the LA Angels. They're off to a 15-14 start, so the Mariners are going to have some work cut out for them since they're now getting off to a little bit of a slow start.
Right.
In what is a decent division this year. I remember talking about this with Pep before the season started. The AL West is not going to be a two-team race this year. The Rangers have came back with a much better team. The LA Angels are healthy coming into this season, and they went and got starting pitching. So the Mariners have to find ways to start winning series, or they're going to be in trouble.
I hate to be Debbie Downer, but like I talked to Pep, and now you hear it from me. It's like, I and I'm not going to count them out yet because I ate crow last year. But I said in order for them to go forward, they had to have it. You know, baseball. In baseball, you have to have at least two starters, pitchers.
Yeah.
And you have to have a closer. All the good teams out there, they call it a closer for a reason. If we're up by 1 run or 2 runs, they throw in the closer, and he could pitch 5, 6, 7 games because that's his job. He doesn't pitch that many innings.
Yeah.
But if you got a weak rotation with your pitchers, your starting pitchers, now you're looking at, you're like the other night. They won, which was great, but they were up, and then the next thing you know, they're losing, and then they got a good hit. I hate to be Debbie Downer with them, but if they don't fix their pitching, I don't see them making the playoffs.
Ooh, you heard that here first.
Yep.
I'm not mad at that. No, because like I just said too, Michael Carter, this is the division now where there's not much room for error. So
No.
Yeah, these guys going down and not winning series here left and right, losing 2 out of 3. That's not gonna get the job done. And they need to start putting on wins. Like, I'm not saying they need to go on a hot run like they did when they won. Like,
say it. They need to go on run. they need to have games, winning streaks where they go on 4 or 5 game winning streaks, maybe lose one, then go back on a 4-game winning streak.
Okay.
I even take 3-game winning streak. Well, we can't do this. Win 1 game, go on a 3-game losing streak, then win 1 game, go on a 4-game losing streak. It's not going to work.
No, I absolutely agree with you. The Mariners need to start shooting off wins here, definitely. And they need to get that done fast before they find themselves in a deeper hole, definitely.
Exactly. And doing that same old where everybody's hoping and praying that so-and-so loses and they win so many games and all that, when it doesn't have to be that way. They could be in it to win it from now, instead of being in the bottom of the cellar. They're lucky that A's are horrible. Because if the A's had a little bit of spunk behind them, they would be a 1-2 battle for the cellar for the Mariners and the A's,
Now, that's a really good point. That the A's are pretty much a AAA team right now. So
right.
They're like that, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, we got that Kraken, Mariners, and then, of course, now, the the other team of course we got to talk about, not just team, but we got to talk about the NFL draft.
Woo! That was crazy.
That was the main topic of sports from Thursday until Saturday.
Yeah.
Number one, Carolina Panthers went. They made a move that was not surprising, drafting what's his name again? Carolina. Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young. That's right.
Then we went quarterback, and we saw the Texans take C.J. Stroud, and then out of surprise move, traded up and got Will Anderson, best defensive man. So I thought the Houston Texans set the tone, coming out and grabbing the two best players on either side of the ball, being aggressive, and then you got to number 5, the Seattle Seahawks on the board. Jalen Carter was there,
right?
And with surprise to a lot of people, they went to cornerback out of Illinois, Devon Witherspoon, 5th pick.
That boy is locked down. And just to give you my opinion on it, I was very skeptical about it because I was listening to it with my son, the draft we were going, because he's a big Seahawks fan, and then I was texting Peppy, and I was skeptical at first. I was like, they need to get that defense line and or the defense edge rusher, and my son was saying, Dad, just be patient. He said, now we got 2 lockdown quarters. We got Tyreek Woolen on one side and Devin Witherspoon on the other side. I said, okay, I see that. And plus the free agents that we have picked up prior to the draft. So that solidified, some of the defensive needs with Jerron. Who do we get? We got Jerron Reed as a defensive tackle, and we got Bobby Wagner back, and then we got Draymond Jones, defensive end, so edge rusher. So they kind of felt that need, and that's why they kind of steered away from Jalen Carter, because they said, we kind of filled our need. He didn't do well in the combine. The last few games of the season, he was kind of sluggish.
Well, then we lost Mike Carter again. Piggyback off what he's saying, though. Okay, he's back. Michael Carter, you're muted. Michael Carter, you're muted.
What's that?
Okay, go ahead. You kind of went out after talking about. Talking about Jalen Carter. Go ahead and finish that off.
So Jalen Carter was being very sluggish at the combine, overweight, and then they said he was at the last few games that there was word going around that he was very fatigued after the game, just very fatigued. So they take all that into consideration, and then when it's extracurricular activities, you notice a lot of teams didn't touch him for a minute.
Yeah, he slipped to 9.
Yeah.
And now the Philadelphia Eagles were able to grab him at 9. I will say that's a win for him. But I'm with you. I'm not surprised that the Seahawks did not take Jalen Carter because, we know the Seahawks are going to do their homework really well.
Right.
And just like you also said, too, I think the Seahawks have been doing such a solid job shoring up the defense through free agency that it was allowing them to now go look at other holes and seeing we can use that number 5 pick in another way. And you're right. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't really know much about Devon Witherspoon, but I wanted to go do my homework. Dude, he fits the Seahawks defensive scheme perfectly. He fits exactly what we look for in having physical cornerbacks, aggressive cornerbacks.
Right.
Those are we had before. So I love the pick. I seen that he was the number 1 rated cornerback in this draft.
Yeah.
He shores up. Now we have 2 lockdown defenders in the secondary. Add that with the safeties we had. Jamal Adams is coming back. Man, that can be a really scary secondary.
Bobby Wagner in the secondary they're going to feed off of him with his knowledge. He still got gas in the tank he showed last year. So they're feeding off of him. it's going to be, and like I said, they got that edge rusher, Draymond Jones. Man, it's going to be very, very interesting. And if they could utilize Jamal Adams, like you said, correctly, I don't think they should get him in pass where they have him in how do you say it? Falling back for the pass. I think they should use him as a decoy. And what his specialty is rushing the quarterback and getting in there.
Yeah.
So if you got the lockdown corners, not giving the receivers any time, you got Jamal in there blitzing and wreaking havoc, and you know, it could be very interesting for the defense.
And you're right. And let's not forget, it's not like the Seahawks also didn't just forget about their offense. I mean, they went with the 20th pick and got arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL draft. This pick I really loved. Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State. I know he didn't play last year. Or did he get hurt last year?
He did. He played. He didn't play the whole season, but he played.
Okay.
But he was on the radio when I was coming home today. And from what he was saying, bro, I'm telling the Seahawk Nation, buckle up. With him, DK, and Tyler Lockett,
true.
You might not even need a tight end.
Yeah. And so, you know, they got Geno Smith, another weapon, pairing another young wide receiver, like you said, with DJ Metcalf. Now you got Njigba, he can play anywhere on the field. He's a slot. He can be an X. He can be a Y. I just think that was a great tool to put on our offense around Geno Smith. And I was really so happy that the Seahawks didn't do what they normally do.
Trade down.
I was so nervous when that 20th pick came around.
I know.
I don't hear it.
I was too, man. I think I lost you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think I don't see the Seahawks traded any of their draft picks, right?
No, what they did was they traded a pick. They dropped down in the third.
Okay. Dropped down in the third, and it looks like then they used and got 2 4th-round picks. And they went up and got somebody on the offensive line, Anthony Bradford, another defensive tackle in Cameron Young. They went really heavy defensively in the draft this year, which tells me, like I said, they, as much as, you know, people thought that, you know, we would go out and maybe possibly get like a big name in free agency, I liked now that the Seahawks, you know, utilize the draft of getting young talent. And like I said, now we can be good for years to come instead of making this year by year, in my opinion. So
exactly, and they got 2 running backs. So they got Zach Carbonnet.
Yep.
From UCLA, right?
Yep.
And then they got Kenny McIntosh in the later rounds. So at least there won't be so much pressure on Kenny Walker to have to do some damage, you know, to overuse him. And plus, they still got I think 1 running back from last year. They lost a couple, but I'm not sure who. I can't remember the name. They still do have
Kenneth Walker's still there, right?
Yep. And then I think Homer. DJ Dallas, is this DJ Dallas still with us? I think DJ Dallas. Yeah, I think he's still with us, but they lost Travis Homer to free agency. So,
well, I remember analysis. Guys were saying that Carbonnet, he's going to have opportunity to get snaps early on in his career behind Kenneth Walker. So he's somebody who can possibly make an early impact this season.
He not somebody that can't. Did you hear his workout schedule?
I did not.
Otis, this guy, the coach of the football team, said that on practice days before he went to school and then would have practice, he would get up at 4:30 in the morning and work out like Jerry Rice, work out, then go to school, then go to practice.
God dang.
And
that's dedication right there.
Yeah, and he runs kind of straight up like Eric Dickerson, but they said they thought that would be a problem, but they said he's so strong that it's not going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. So people are going to think, we can hit this guy, and they'll tackle him, and it's like they're going to find out, oh no, because he's ready.
Is there anything else the Seahawks can do this offseason, or are they pretty much ready to go?
I think they need to start. I think they're ready to go, barring any injuries. I think they're ready to go with what they have, and I just think they are. I'm not gonna say any more than that. I don't think Geno or whoever's quarterbacking, it will be Geno, but I don't think they need to do a lot because he got weapons, and they picked up a guard, Anthony Bradford. I was really happy about that. That boy is big and bad. They picked up the Osagun Olawanta. I can't pronounce his name, but I think he's African. But he's a center from Michigan.
Okay. And he won the Remington Award, best center.
Right. Right.
How does that fall?
I don't know. But you want to know something that was amazing about this draft, though, and it's historic, very historic. That this is the first time ever that 2 black quarterbacks got drafted in the first round, and a white quarterback did not get drafted. And he fell all the way to the second round. Willis Levi. Yeah.
Nah, that was super surprising. It's, it just tells you the type of league that we're in right now, how it's going towards. These dual quarterbacks are just making their mark as being the type of quarterback that these teams want. We got to go to break real quick, Michael Carter.
Okay.
When we come back, I want to get a draft grade from you about the Seahawks. We'll talk a little bit about the Lamar Jackson situation, him being back in Baltimore.
Yep.
And then we'll get into some NBA playoffs. But we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
All right.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not being reprimanded by traffic cops, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Are you nerdy by nature? The CrossFit Ideas Festival is back with captivating conversations to quench your curiosity. Explore issues in science, health, culture, and politics with thought leaders and innovators like Ibram X. Kendi, Audie Cornish, Eric Holder, John Quillen Hill, Andrew Yang, and more. April 29th to May 6th at the Amazon Meeting Center in downtown Seattle. It's the CrossFit Ideas Festival, where curiosity and discovery connect. Get your tickets at crossfit.com/festival.
The beat of the Fox with nastiness is back on K-Fox Night Beat.
Yo, what's the deal? It's the legendary Hall of Fame DJ Mixmaster Ice from UTFO.
What's up? Who you thought this is? This is Sir Mix-a-Lot.
And this is Terry Lewis.
And I'm Grand Mixer GMS.
What's up, y'all? This is DJ Third Degree.
This is JJ Hudson from the High Children family.
Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's K-Fox Night Beat with DJ Nastiness.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music. Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
That's my noise.
Peace.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
Once we change and improve the mindset around what Black wealth is and can be and show success
along the journey, the longer term impacts will be huge. This is something that once we get there and at various places along the journey, we'll see that this is something that we could have done or could have begun a long time ago and simply managed to not yet find the trail. But once we do find the pathway, we'll be able to create something that no one will be able to take away from us, from our families, or our communities. And like I say, the impact will be huge. So we can either talk about it or get on with the task. My suggestion is that we hunker down, cinch up our belts, and get on
This
with
campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
What's up, everybody? You're now listening to LidLine Sports. Welcome back. Want to give a shout out to our loyal listeners tuning in right now. I got Michael Carter Williams with me in the studio. We were just talking about the NFL draft and the Seahawks and how well they've been doing. Before we move on, though, from the NFL draft, Michael Carter, I wanted to get a draft grade from you from the Seahawks. Right now, you're on mute too, Michael Carter.
I'm off now. I got off.
Yep.
So my grade for the Seahawks would be a A-.
Okay.
I give them an A- because they filled the needs that I wanted, and they got good picks. It wasn't, and they didn't trade down. They didn't trade down. Number one, they filled a lot of holes because, like the receiver that we were talking about, Jackson.
Yeah.
He's not only a receiver; he's a kickoff return or punt returner specialist too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I give him an A-. What you say?
I'm giving them an A. The reason why I'll probably differ from the A- is because they did not trade down. That's the difference from me giving them an A. But just like you said, they came in to this draft and handled business and filled holes. Exactly. They didn't come in here. They didn't play around. They took players. They took players that were needed. And they took good, solid players and guys that are going to help this team. Not just now, but in the next 2 to 3 years. So yeah, it was hard not. It's not hard not to give the Seahawks an A. So really great job out there, and I'm just excited for next season.
Yeah, we're close. A-.
A-. Yeah, that balances out to what? We'll still say A overall.
Okay.
So some NFL news. Lamar Jackson finally got his money. He re-signed back with the Baltimore Ravens after a hoopla of just narratives from left and right what was going to happen. Did Baltimore Ravens just not want to pay him? Did Lamar Jackson want all guaranteed money? Was it an issue because he didn't have no agent? All that got answered. Do you know the exact numbers on that contract?
I don't know the exact numbers, but I know he's up. He's the top. He's the top. He's at the top now. He's up there. I want to ask you a question though. Were you getting tired of waiting for all the hoopla of Lamar Jackson, kind of like we were with Aaron Rodgers?
I think more with me with the Lamar Jackson situation is just, Michael Carter, I love basketball.
Right.
And it's just crazy to see star players in the NFL, and not only your star player, but your best player, not able to just – there should never be a difficulty of paying your best player.
I agree.
I don't care what the issues of the agent or money-wise. A guy that goes and wins you games, get it done. There should be no –
Go ahead. No, I would go a step farther than that and say I agree 100% that you should – when you have a guy of those calibers, you pay him. But also, you just like the NBA, you can't have one star and not build around him.
Yeah.
You got to give him some weapons. So in Aaron Rodgers' defense, Green Bay just took all his weapons and said, okay, we want you to do it yourself. And in a way, the Baltimore Ravens, their O-line is shaky, and Lamar didn't have a lot of weapons either. So it's like, okay, you got this star, give him what he needs, pay him first, but give him the players that he can utilize so you really see his talents.
Exactly. And so, yeah, you're 100% right about that. And they started out, they got OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. for him. So, he has another toy to play with. But you're right. The Ravens still have some work to do in shoring up that offensive line for Lamar Jackson. He got 5-year, $260 million, 185 guaranteed. So, yes, he will be the highest paid quarterback next year. But, yeah, just like I said, it just sucks that it took this long to lock in, your star player. On Aaron Rodgers' side, I knew a deal was going to get done. I wasn't really worried about that dragged out process. I knew a deal.
I was just saying I was tired of waiting and hearing and all the confusion of maybe this, maybe that, or just like with Lamar, it's like, okay, are you going to? Because for a while there, I didn't even think he was going to stay with the Ravens. I was like, okay, he wants out, and it's like I understand he wants to get paid because the longevity in the NFL stands for not for long. So I understand that, and but they just need to get a team like Jalen Hurts. If you get an agent like Jalen Hurts and a marketing team and go out there and get all them top-notch women doing what they do, you wind up like Jalen Hurts and be set.
Yeah. Set with a good team going forward too,
with a good team with weapons. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're right. But yeah, like you said, good thing is I'm glad Lamar got his money. I'm glad he's getting paid.
Amen.
The man is worth every penny for that franchise and what he has done.
Exactly.
For them, he's been there, winning seasons after winning seasons, without, just like you said, not having all the talent around him, like some of these other quarterbacks get. So I'm glad that they're able to move forward for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and we'll see what that looks down the road. Him and OBJ. How do you like that 1-2 punch?
OBJ's he's a baller, man. So long as he's because he's coming off an injury, but I seen some highlights of him, and I'm thinking, okay, this boy's ready. And with Lamar, Lamar can sling it, and defenses, they can't cheat on Lamar because he'll take off on them. So they have to play. They got to play straight up. You can't cheat because if you cheat, he's gonna throw it. If you cheat one way, he's gonna run it. So you got to play straight up. So if they can shore up that line a little bit and get him a couple other weapons, running back and whatever else, slot back, I think the Baltimore is going to be right there.
Okay. We're going to see that moving forward.
Right.
On to some NBA playoffs, Michael Carter.
Let's do it.
We got the second round matchup set. We saw the Sacramento Kings lose to the Warriors in 7 over the past week. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks get surprised and losing 5 to the Heat. We've seen the Lakers handle the Grizzlies to move forward. What would you say was the biggest surprise and upsets in the first round of the NBA?
Milwaukee was the biggest. The way they got beat. Even though Giannis got hurt and he wasn't 100%, I still thought that in the regular season when he didn't play, they still played well. But the playoffs is a whole different beast. Basketball, I know basketball, and when regular season is regular season, but when you get in the playoffs, it's a whole different beast. And then I wasn't so shocked over Miami because I knew Jimmy Buckets Butler and their coach Eric Spoelstra. I knew they were ready to go. They were primed. So I wasn't as shocked as much, but for Milwaukee to lose in 5,
You're talking about a team that had championship aspirations, the nucleus of the same guys that won a championship 2 years ago, MVP and Giannis. Now, what I look at, I agree with you. That was the biggest upset and surprise to me. There was something, I don't know what, but something woke Jimmy Butler up come the play-in, and seeing the Miami Heat's back against the walls to possibly lose that 9-10 matchup. Look, in order for the Miami Heat, who I do agree and believe that they should have championship aspirations, it starts and ends up with Jimmy Butler. He has to be the aggressor. He has to be the guy that gets these guys going offensively, and everybody else needs to follow suit behind him.
Exactly.
I remember game one of the finals, and when they were playing in the bubble, and I think Tyler Hero, or he had a good game, but I remember him coming into the post interview and was saying, you know, it could be me today, it could be Tyler Hero tomorrow, it could be Bam, which all from very well could be true.
Right.
But it has to be you, though, for sure, every game. In my opinion, for them to
he's got to be the alpha dog every game.
Mm-hmm.
He can't slack off. He's got it now that they progressed, they moved on. He's got to stay dominant like that. But I think Milwaukee, the coach got out coached, because you tell me, if you're coaching, you're the Milwaukee's coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see what Jimmy Butler's doing, I'm double teaming him and I'm making one of the others step up.
And you know what? You know, that's a tough decision to have to make, because in what the NBA's widely opinion is that Jrue Holiday is the best on-ball defender in the NBA. But I will say I agree with you only because you got somebody else by the name of Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is also a very good on-ball defender. And let's call a spade a spade. Yes, Jrue Holiday is a really good defender, but he's a smaller guard. Jimmy Butler is 6'6", a big guy. Giannis is 6'11", who can move like a gazelle. Jimmy Butler's not able to just put Jrue Holiday in the post and just get wherever he wants on the floor.
Right.
With Giannis. And I get it. You know, Giannis is coming off the back injury. You don't want to put too much on his plate. But even Giannis said, you know, in that post-game press conference that he had wished that Budenholzer had put him on Jrue Holiday more throughout the series. And it seemed like Giannis was questioning a little bit of Coach Budenholzer's game plan throughout the series and the adjustments that he did not make. So, yeah, that's a good point that you made, Mark Carter. You got to be able to mix it up. You live and died with your decision, and they ultimately cost you to lose 5 games, because you can't have a player go rampant and go for 90 points in 2 games. That just can't happen.
No, and when you got a player of that caliber, Giannis, Devin Booker, Tatum, I could keep going on and naming these players. Bronson. When you got players of that caliber, Jimmy Buckets, when they disagree with you as a coach, you have to really look at it and say, okay, they're out there playing. They know what they know the feel for the game. I gotta listen. I gotta listen to them instead of just being like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. Okay, look what my way got you. 5 out.
Yep. So you're right. And so they're on the second round right now. They're actually up 1-0 against the New York Knicks.
Yep.
Shout out to the New York Knicks. That was my second surprise of beating the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games. Jalen Brunson showed why he's the $100 million man and why he's still underpaid. They did that all with Julius Randle on halfway of a bum ankle, then hurting his ankle again. Julius Randle missed game 1 of the second round matchup. I think Jimmy Butler also tweaked his ankle too.
He did.
I'm gonna say though, even with Jimmy Butler hurt, I just think going back to the points that you made of having, a championship caliber coach in Eric Spoelstra, I'm going to say that Miami wins this series, and I think it's going to be another hard-fought series because New York is doing a good job of being a defensive-minded team so far in this playoffs. I think I got Miami at 7. Who you got winning the second round matchup?
If Randall doesn't come back for the next game, and Miami goes up 2 games, it's a wrap, and it might not even make 7 games. It might go to 6, and because they go down 2, they're gonna bring Randall back, and so then they could kind of get back in it. But when this the way it is right now, you don't want to get that far behind in the series.
Yeah,
you want to be within a game. You don't want to be 2 games down, 3 games down, and wasting all your energy just to make a comeback just to get beat in 6 or 7. So I think Miami can do it unless Randall comes back and the Knicks fire, because they got young ballers. If they fire on all pistons and Randall comes back, can be very interesting.
Okay. I agree with you, and I think it'll be a really interesting series. Now, on the other side of the Eastern Conference bracket, we had the Boston Celtics beat the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games. Jason Tatum had to apologize for having to push back Janet Jackson's concert since they were supposed to win in 5.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, they ended up smoking Game 5 and having to go back to Atlanta for Game 6. Janet Jackson's concert was scheduled the same day, but they were able to get it done. They will play Philadelphia 76ers, who were waiting for them after sweeping the Nets. And Game 1 was today, so no Joel Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers. Brooklyn, the Boston Celtics. I was a little concerned in that first series because of the lack of defense against the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
So coming into Game 1 today, I'm thinking, no Joel Embiid, who's out with a mild 2 or 2 sprained knee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that Atlanta's gonna, blow this game open by getting up and down, and because we haven't seen a James Harden, be able to fire off 30 to 40 points in a game in a long time, but he did that today. I don't know if you watched any of the Michael.
I did. He got mad. I'm gonna tell you what happened. How he got mad when the refs didn't call that foul when he made that 3, and what's his name for Boston?
Marcus Smart.
No, the other guard with the face mask. Oh God, I'm having a brain.
Brown.
Yeah, Brown. Yeah, he closed in on him, and he came down and tweaked his ankle on him, and it's like he's yelling at the ref, man, what's going on? And then they did it again, but this time he barely missed his foot, and when Harden did that, I could see the anger, and he's like, okay, this is how we gonna play, all right. And you don't poke the bear,
Yeah. And for me, I think it's a blessing in disguise. Of course, you want to have the NBA's leading scorer on the floor, of course. But I thought it was a blessing in disguise for these guys to have to play this first game without Joel Embiid, only because, Michael, we got to see James Harden get off and be aggressive like this. It's been so long since you've seen him just go down and he set the tone today.
Exactly.
And we're even with Joel Embiid on the floor, this is the James Harden that the 76ers need to see for the rest of the playoff.
Yep.
And Tyrese Maxey also did his thing as well.
He did.
He was going to step up. But yeah, if the Celtics don't shore up them defensively, I know everybody's saying that the Celtics should handle these guys in 5 or 6 games. I don't see them that happening or them getting out of this round if they can't shore up guarding anybody. We know
Philly's not gonna roll over, so they better get the. And Harden just showed you that today, and like you said, Maxey, but they're not gonna roll over. And then Embiid's coming back. If they could stay course and let Embiid heal and get some rest, and then come back, Boston's in trouble.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you because we already know they don't really have an answer for Joel Embiid.
They don't. They don't have a big to stop him. So if they could stay course without him, and then when he comes back, it's like they're in trouble. Boston's in trouble, man.
Yeah, best case scenario now is you get to evaluate Joel Embiid. You don't have to feel like you have to throw him out there if he's not ready to go. Worst case scenario, you're going back home 1-1, which means you stole one. You already, in my opinion, I feel like for teams that are starting out on the road, you've done your job if you stole one the first 2 games of a series. So they done their job in my opinion. But yes, you go out there regardless without James Harden or without Joel Embiid, you go and try to steal 2 and try to go back home up 2-0. Just like you just said about this last series with the Philly and not Philly, but the New York and
Miami.
If Philly goes back to Philly 2-0, Boston is in some real trouble.
And you want me to tell you why you're spot on? I'm gonna tell you why you're spot on, because I watched the game. I wasn't really a great Embiid fan, but he can ball. He's a good big. But when I seen a game recently where he wasn't scoring, but he was getting rebounds and blocking shots, and he was hustling. And then he did the interview afterwards, and they said, "Well, your offense." He said, "Yeah, I got to do whatever I need to do. If I got to play defense and block shots and hustle, then that's what I'm going to do." If Embiid has that mindset right now, still, they in trouble. Whoever they playing is in trouble, because like Boston, they don't have a big to stop him.
Yep, no, you're 100% right. Moving on to the Western Conference side. So we got the fun matchup that's starting tomorrow. The LA Lakers, who beat the Memphis Grizzlies in 6. What did you think of that series, man, with the Grizzlies and the Lakers?
Dylan Brooks is I don't want to use the words that I want to say, but he's not he's not the brightest bulb in the bunch. Let me say it to you like that, because you don't say things like that and poke the bear, as I said earlier, against a guy who's LeBron James caliber. Ask all the opponents that talk crap to Michael Jordan and what happened to them, and what they did when they talk, or Kobe Bryant when they were talking crap and they made him. Guys of that caliber, you just play ball. Let what happens on the court speak for itself. But I'm going to ask you this. Let me ask you this one question, and all. To me, Ja Morant, he's too wild. Somebody needs to tame him down, because he comes in so wildly, and he takes away from their team a little bit, because they're all standing around waiting to see what he does, and they're looking at him like in awe. And then he goes in there crazy. Now he's got serious athleticism, but it takes more than that in the NBA.
Well, I think what we saw here for the Memphis Grizzlies was, we saw what their Achilles heel is, and that is that they are not a good half court scoring team.
Right.
You just said, often when they could not find a bucket, they would go to Ja, and Ja would either take the 3 that was given to him because they're laying off him,
right?
He would go duck his head wildly, and sometimes he'll make an acrobatic great move. But a lot of times, especially in this series, you're just throwing up something off the glass.
Right.
And for me, and it's not just on him, but I don't think Desmond Bane is like an elite scorer. All these guys can score, and they're great like out in transition. But they really struggle just scoring the ball in a half-court situation. I never knew. I thought Dylan Brooks had a little more offensive game.
Yeah, okay.
Especially how much he talks, and I don't know why. I just thought he was a better shooter, but how they were guarding him, it's just like it all made sense. I just didn't know he was not. He was so just handicapped offensively like that. They got a lot of work to do this offseason, and they need pieces. It's a gift and curse, how confident and cocky they are.
Right.
Because I love it, but at the end of the day, you have to earn to be able to talk like that. So hopefully they can figure it out and moving forward. But the Lakers did a really good job in that series. And they're getting what the people want to see. They're getting the Golden State Warriors team, who did a really good job on the Sacramento Kings. That was another fun series. That went 7.
That was one of my favorites, the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, and that game came down to game 7 of, we're better than you. We have Steph Curry and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Our star is going to outshine your star.
Exactly. Steph Curry went for 50 in the game 7, most points ever scored in the game 7. He went off. I'm going to say that the Golden State Warriors are going to win this series in 6. What do you got?
If I like what you're saying, but I'm going to just say this. If AD plays like he played the last couple of games, and LeBron James does. I don't like Reeves that much for the Lakers, so I think he's their weak link, and he takes shots, and he's not as good as they think he is. But I think it could go 7 if if AD and LeBron play how they've been playing. The others would feed off of it, and it could go to a 7-game series. And if it does, then I think Golden State would win in 7 because I don't think they got anybody that can. I think Clay's going to kick in, and Draymond. They got that veteran. They got the overwhelming veteran backing.
Well, I hope it goes 7 because on the other side of that, before we get out of here, we got a couple more minutes. My Phoenix Suns are going to be in a dogfight with the Denver Nuggets. We saw game 1. The Denver Nuggets came out. Jamal Murray came out hot. And for me, the Denver Nuggets, they are playing like they have something to prove because, in my opinion, they didn't get enough respect coming into the playoffs as being the number 1 seed. The Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, all those guys, a lot of people have put question marks next to them of, okay, well, we've seen what those guys did in the bubble, or, they're always hurt. But I've always said, and I'm very nervous about this team because when healthy, they are a really good basketball team. They're well coached, and Jokic is probably one of my favorite players. And I watched the Suns play the Clippers. It's going to take an overhaul effort out of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Now, if there's any 2 players that are sized up to do that, yes, it's them. Now, can they do it for 6 or 7 games against the Nuggets? Man, Mike, like I said, I'm nervous.
I'm gonna tell you what needs to happen for your Suns to Chris Paul needs to have a couple great games like we know he can. Yes. But Ayton has to start to be more dominant. He has to go, meaning he has to score down low. He has to make a presence of if you're not blocking the shot, just make sure that they're not just having easy shots. If they could do that, then Phoenix has a great shot of beating Denver.
Okay. And DeAndre Ayton, he calls himself domination. So, yes, he needs to show that.
Exactly.
You can't be giving yourself nicknames like that.
Right.
Not showing. So, yes, I think him and Chris Paul are going to be so vital to this series. And I'm going to say just off my heart, I hope that we can get this series over in 6 or 7. But I do think the Suns do have enough to definitely win this series and move on. Michael Carter, man, it's always great talking sports with you, man.
Always, man. Always, Otis.
I'm still going to need you to explain to me what offsides means in hockey and
soccer. I will. I'll get with you and I'll explain offsides and icing and all that to you, man.
Man, thank you, man, because I'm so confused by that. But thank you once again for all loyal listeners. Pep should be back here on Monday. But Michael Carter, you're always welcome to pop in, man. Always, man.
Yeah, we got to do it. We got to do a show with all 3 of us together, maybe one time.
Oh man, we can do that anytime, man. But once again, man, you guys have a great Monday. Have a great rest of the week. And once again, LidLine Sports. We'll see you guys next week.